the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, overnight has what can only be described as a U-turn for the 13th time. Play me my music bed, please, now. Greetings, pop pickers, or should I say electorate. Honestly, I'm not even going to lie to you, right? We were looking at this, right? Yesterday, digital ID, in at 4, down at 7. I'm messing, but listen, 13 things that they've U-turned on. Digital ID, my friends, the 2-child cap benefit, income tax, national insurance, welfare reforms. This is in 18 months. The farmers' inheritance tax, the grooming gangs inquiry, winter fuel payments, day one workers' rights, those poor waspy women, trans rights, let's move on, pub business rates and green investment. The Prime Minister of this country, under pressure from what? The media, his own backbenchers lose it, and everybody else U-turns again. How do we take anything that this man says seriously? If you could see the smile on Matt Vickers' face, you'd know that basically the United Kingdom is gearing up. They're just laughing at this man, laughing at him. Keir Starmer, digital ID is to be scrapped. Why'd you come up with it in the first place, then? What was that all about? I don't understand. Love to hear your thoughts as ever on the show. Christian is here. Very smart this morning. Very, very smart. Got a jacket, got a very nicely ironed shirt. Could be off for an interview. 0344 499 1000. That's the number for your voice notes. Get them in nice and early. 0344 499 1000. And your text to 87222. Front page of The Sun, highlighting the other main news story of the day. Brilliant headline. The Inn Reaper. You see what The Sun did there? Rachel Thieves, or Richard III, as if you go and look at her, was blasted last night yet again as pub goers were hit by a double whammy. Pricier Guinness, diluted alcoholic drinks, due of course to her devastating tax scrub. The pub business, the hospitality business, on its backside with a government who shows no desire to protect it. I don't know if you work in the pub industry, you're up early, you're getting the barrel loads in. What do you make of this woman? She just seems to me to want to destroy any business in that sector and is going about it in the most horrific way. We'd love to hear what you say there. We've also got Donald Trump. He told the Iranian, on a serious note, he told the Iranian protesters help is on his way as he considers strikes against the Islamic Republic. We will update you on that throughout the morning. Writing on his Truth Social overnight, DJT said that the regime's killers and abusers would pay a very big price for their actions. More, of course, than 2,500 civilians have reportedly been killed. Freeing Iran would be the most important thing, I would have thought, for so many people. We'll let you know. Plus, our brand new roving reporter, Samara Gill, SOS, send our Samara, will be explaining a couple of great packages today. The potential ban facing X, although don't hold your breath because it will probably be thrown out tomorrow. And also it's AI image generator grok. And also why that Chinese embassy in London is such a threat to our national security. This is what you can expect later from SOS. Here we go.
These redacted rooms apparently are in very close proximity to fibre optic cables that could contain extremely private and confidential information that you would not want the Chinese embassy to have.
It's all going on the Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show, 7 minutes past 6. We say a very good morning to a man with a spring in his step and his hat is at a jaunty angle. Matt Vickers, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Now, I know why you're smiling, because yesterday, forget the Nadine Zahawi stuff, which was a real split for my viewers and listeners, but an opinion poll showing Reform dropping, showing the Green Party dropping, a YouGov poll ironically created by Nadine Zahawi, and the Tory Party up on the march under Kemi. Reaction to that?
Well, I think she's making her pitch, isn't she? You know, people weren't quite listening, but they are listening because that woman's got backbone.
What's changed?
Well, people are tuned into her. You know, she's gone out there, she's made the pitch, she's took the time to see what people have said, and she's a woman who's going places. She's got a plan, she knows what she's about, she's not messing around, and I think people like it. They want somebody who's got backbone to take on the problems that this country's facing. She's the one.
It's really, really interesting, actually, because you've sat here for months and we love you and respect you for doing that. And the one battle I think the Tories will have for a long time is to be listened to by our viewers and listeners and the public in general. But there is a slight feeling that she's finally speaking the right language, and it's going to be fascinating.
Well, the more people hear from her, the more they like her. That seems to be where we're at. So keep listening, people.
We've got the deputy chairman, and later on we've got Dame Priti Patel. Is she?
She's a legend.
She's a legend. You're terrified.
Another woman who knows what she thinks.
You're terrified of her, aren't you? Right, all of that coming up on the show today. Matt, let's go to it. Let's get straight to it, because we try, on the Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show, to have a slight laugh. Digital ID, the 13th U-turn by this government.
The guy's like a weather vane, just flip-flops, he's here, there. Well, in fact, they branded him Keir Starmer, aren't they? Because he changes position every day.
What? No, stop. No, I hadn't heard this. Christian, do something with that. Keir Starmer. This is brilliant.
I mean, when you arrive in office with no plan, you have no idea what you stand for. Everything, because all of these positions, he's been in a different place on them all, but we're hoping for the 14th. I reckon by the end of the week we might get it. Jury trials. This is, we had David Lammy who'd gone out there and told us how fundamental jury trials are to our judicial system. And then here he is, proposing that we get rid of them. We're hoping for that 14th hit by the end of the week. Who knows? We might get it. But
I mean, I read the list out. Digital ID overnight. The government abandoning plans to make digital ID cards mandatory for workers. I think one of the things that I know about, certainly the people that listen and watch this, is that they feel that their freedoms are under pressure in this apparent nanny state that is this Labour government.
When it comes to digital ID, when it comes to jury trial, these are things that are like, they change the way that the state relates to citizens, and they'd never been mentioned before the election. Nobody wanted it, nobody needs it, nobody voted for it. It's not as at no point was it in the manifesto, no point was it said to anybody. He just pulls out the bag and goes for it.
Pete, Keir Starmer, more U-turns than a ram at breeding time. Brilliant, 6:10. Let's nail the Jeremy Kyle Breakfast Show. But it's true. U-turn after U-turn after U-turn. Now, politically, you know this because you're in the House of Commons, it's all a bit of a mishmash, but you can understand that right now in the Labour Party there's a lot of machinations, moving parts and people waiting to jump. One of them is Wes Streeting, who, to be fair, has made no secret of the fact, I think, that he'd like to be the leader one day.
It's only a matter of time.
Do you believe that?
I think he's sat there grinning away during PMQs as he sees the nasal night unfolding in front of the nation's eyes.
Keir Sutra, the nasal night's getting better.
Kemi's there, tearing him a new one, and you can see Wes sat beside him, just he's ready to measure up the curtains, isn't he? He's going in.
Right.
It's just a case of when.
Yesterday, and this is where politics becomes interesting, right? Front page of the Mail, now digital ID cards won't be compulsory. And yet, just before that announcement, Streeting does an interview and blasts Starmer over Labour U-turns. But did he get a heads up on Prime Minister's latest flip-flop? Now, we try and make your Wednesday, and in fact Monday to Thursday, just occasionally amongst the misery of the news, we like to try and find something funny. This is a very short clip of Streeting. Just listen to this, please.
In the NHS, we have an initiative called GIRFT, Get It Right First Time. That should be our New Year's resolution for 2026.
Sorry, is that girth? What is he? Is he talking about girth, Wes Streeting? Girth or girth? He's talking about the thickness. I've no idea. We'll try and decipher. You've gone slightly red. Wes Streeting and girth. Welcome to Wednesday. Peeps, what do you make of Keir Starmer on a serious note? I mean, it's frightening to me.
The bizarre thing with these U-turns, though, is he sacks... So MPs who dare to vote against... You saw there was one of them had the spine to vote against the family farm tax. Well, he's coming down the line now and he's going to get us the jury trial U-turn. But there was the one guy who voted against this family farm tax that's undermining food security, going to drive up our food prices. Well, you saw what's happening to farmers. Farmers literally ending their lives out of fear of what this is going to do for their kids. One of them had the spine to stand up and vote against it. Chucked out the party, and now they've U-turned on it anyway. But the same on the two-child cap. He chucked a lot of them out.
Do they come back in? Do they come back in?
They usually get they sneak back in at some point.
What is just from your point of view, and tell me honestly, not because you're a Tory, What's the feeling on the Labour benches? Because it must be febrile, because they can just click their fingers and this guy capitulates like a blancmange.
It's ridiculous. When you see the size of the majority, he can't deliver anything. 13. I reckon the 14th will come by the end of the week. But Are
you putting your neck on the line there? You reckon the jury trials will be U-turned?
I reckon we're there. But then the other problem is a lot of these things that we're hearing the headlines on, we don't know the detail about. They've talked about business rates. They've said they're backing down on it. We don't know what that means. We don't know whether that's just the pubs and the hairdressers, the restaurants and the shops are all just going to still go under. We don't know whether he's going to give them a discount of 5%, 10%. We don't know what he's doing. I don't think he does know. I don't think he does know.
Is he, ladies and gentlemen, the most incompetent Prime Minister we've ever had? I've said this before, right? This show, this station, allows you to come and speak. We've got the Deputy Chairman of the Tory Party today doing our papers, and we thank him for that. Later on, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, Priti Patel. Yesterday, we had the Chairman of Reform. Nothing from Labour. We've tried. I'm very happy to have him on, and I extend that the whole goddamn time. Starmer, this is another one. JK, if he allows his Chinese embassy with a secret room with heat extraction units near our fibre communications network in the city, this is absolutely outrageous. He must be stopped now. That and Mad Ed and Net Zero, getting rid of diesel pumps, an estimated 9 trillion costings. I honestly, says Sean in Bradwell, believe this country is on its backside. Not more interesting, Sean, I wouldn't be disrespectful. Helen, you know what, Jez? I'm done with all parties, including Reform. Maybe now Advance UK. This is Ben Habib's party, is the way. I don't know, but detest this new detector of Reform, Nadine Zahawi. We don't want the Tories. I'm politically homeless. How do you answer that?
She's got to keep listening to Kemi. You know what? You can say what you want about the last government. You can say what you want about all the mistakes it made. That is a woman who's got backbone, who's getting stuck in, who knows what she's about, who isn't going to be flip-flopping all over the place. Give her a listen, give her a hearing, and make some decisions.
Hearing? Well, here's a hearing for our Prime Minister, the embattled Keir Starmer. Overnight, he decided to abandon plans to make digital ID cards mandatory for workers, just about 4 months after he proudly announced them. Here he is on digital ID from October.
This government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as what? I'm going to change my mind between October and January. I mean, honestly, you're laughing. We're all laughing. I'm not going to make a rod for his own back. He's totally incompetent, isn't he?
You do wonder where it comes from. These ideas, they come out of the woodwork, having never been discussed with the public, probably never been discussed with his own MPs. He floats them, throws them around, and wonders why he ends up trashing them. They arrived in government without any sort of plan, any ideas of what they were going to do. But this is a guy who literally held every position. He was backing Jeremy Corbyn.
Yep.
And we're now surprised. You know, I mean, when you think about what Jeremy Corbyn had to say on defence, when you think about what he was going to do to this country.
Do you know what I find myself doing when I look? I've said this before. When I look at Starmer as a voter, not as a broadcaster, right? I literally sit here and I say, Jeremy Corbyn and I would be so diametrically opposed in almost everything he believes in. At least he had the balls, Matt Vickers, to stand up and say, that's what I'm going to do, and I am going to stand by that. You don't get that from
Well, he
Starmer.
Believed in something.
Yeah, and by the way, he got more votes than Starmer did.
There was a funny line at PMQs the other week, and I saw Kemi called him out on it. He said, oh, you know, what does he believe on sons? And he starts flicking through a folder, you know, trying to find what it is he believes, and he arrived at nothing. There is nothing that he stands for. There's nothing he believes in.
There's nothing inside him. I don't think there's any DNA, political DNA. There's nothing that, you know, he feels passionately about. There's stuff I'm sure you feel passionate about. We all feel passionately about, but he doesn't look.
But who's he there for? Who is he there to deliver for? It's not for working people.
No.
They're all being battered with. The only people he's helping out is the people on benefits who can't be bothered to go to work. He's not standing up for anyone or anything.
This next message is for you, and there's a reason I'm going to do it, and you'll understand this. And you have to take this seriously. Jez, great show. Could you please ask Mac, and I respect him for coming on, after what your party did to the UK economy only 18 months ago, explain to me why on earth I should believe anything you or your party say. Keith?
So, well, economy is quite an interesting. So I think the last government did get lots of things wrong. I think there was lots of mistakes. The party's obviously significantly changed. We've got a new leader. I wasn't a minister in the last government. I think the party got lots of things wrong. But on the economy, I don't think we did. I think when you look back at where we were, we had the fastest growth in the G7, near record levels of employment. Taxes were too high, but we know why taxes were up. We know what we were paying for. We're paying for all that furlough that got people through the pandemic. And look at those same metrics now. 21% more people out of work. We talk about that as a number, but that's
21% more people out of work.
21% more people unemployed. That's people who don't have a pay packet, struggle to look after their families, are sat at home becoming unwell. Being out of work is not good for you. It's not good for them. You look at that comparative, you look at growth. We've now got the most sluggish growth going. Taxes, we thought it was bad before. This government hasn't had a war. It hasn't had a pandemic, yet taxes are through the roofs. 3 things put taxes up: wars, pandemics, and Labour governments. The one thing that's guaranteed is always a Labour government. More people out of work, taxes go up. The only people better off are those who don't want to work.
This digital ID thing's getting to you. Liam says the only reason, gang, they cancelled the UK ID scheme is to stop us talking about the ludicrous banning of X.
That's, well, yeah. You've got to wonder where it's going. I mean, but it's also the X thing is being thrown in. They're trying to like tie it up with people using editing images. Twitter doesn't really, Grok might be an app on which you can do it. Don't tie it in.
I said this yesterday, and to be fair, it did get a bit of traction, right? The irony of this man, who today has announced the axing of digital ID card scheme, that's the 13th, made a big thing about banning X. Nobody wants those images. Disgusting, heinous people that do that should be arrested. But you have to talk about the other platforms if you're talking about X, and you have to also have a serious conversation to people who will think that this is denying free speech. But the irony was that we had that yesterday, on the same day that his answer to the boat situation was to launch a bloody account on TikTok to create information about how it's going to end. I genuinely, and I don't have an ounce of his intelligence quite patently, but the Prime Minister of this country is, without any shadow of a doubt, probably one of the most incompetent people that's ever held that office, if not the most. And that is not sitting here trying to be personal or anything. Every example, 13 U-turns. What do you make of Rupert Lowe yesterday? Did you see that tweet?
I didn't, but I mean, the other thing about Starmer is he is the most unpopular Prime Minister, but we've been pointing out...
Is he less popular than Liz Truss?
He was less popular than Maduro. He's less popular than Liz Truss. He's so bad. The guy was executing people in his own country was more popular. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? But the guy, you can understand why. You can understand
a tweet from Rupert Lowe yesterday. I love your response to this. The man, of course, who fell out with reform, who has a large gathering. It is a plea to all patriotic MPs. Can we please put aside petty BS party political differences and work together for the British people? We can win. We are winning. We need to win. Your response to that from Rupert Lowe?
Yeah, I think that's a fair game. I think actually when you look at what's happening, when you look at these U-turns was a victory of all the noise that gets made in that chamber, week in, week out, all the pressure, all the petitions that people go out there and sign, Kemi battering him at PMQs. That's part of the drill. That's what politics is all about. And this is achievements on behalf of the opposition, getting him to U-turn on this absolute rubbish he was inflicting on the British people. Do you take credit
for that as the Tory party or not?
I think Kemi's had a big role in a lot of that. When you look at the family farm tax, it was Kemi who was leading the way. When you look at the grooming gangs thing, it's Kemi who's been absolutely battering him and holding him to account. But actually, it's also about people on the street. It's about the farmers who were out there demonstrating, fighting for their livelihoods. It's about those grooming gangs victims who went through the most awful of things and then went out there, told the story, told the people what it was about. MPs and politicians do a little bit to get on the edge of that and help those people tell their stories, but actually it's some of those incredible people in the campaigns that they lead.
Loads to talk about. Matt Vickers, Deputy Chair of the Tory Party, here reviewing the papers. The #1 news story today, digital ID is to be scrapped. It's the 13th bloody Labour U-turn in 18 short, painful months for Keir Starmer. Overnight, he abandons plans to make digital ID cards mandatory for workers. Well, it was October when he said it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Margaret in Birmingham, good morning to Margaret. She says, not another one. What a joke this man is. Puts stress on everyone, then backtracks. U-turn after U-turn. Jez says, Christina, don't trust this U-turn on digital ID. He's given in too easily. Remember, elections just round the corner. He will sneak it through the back door. Don't trust him. Morning, Anna.
This man puts grandparents into prison for tweets. This man was happy to let pensioners freeze. This man is destroying our food chain. He's ruining our army. He's quite happy to sit back whilst illegal Islamics rape children, rape women. He's quite happy to sit back and let the country slide into the sewer whilst allowing the Chinese to build a big spy embassy under London.
A very good morning. This, of course, is Talks, the home of common sense and free speech. Jeremy Carlin, breakfast until 10, and Matt Vickers, Deputy Chairman of the Tory Party, reviewing the papers on the day you wake up to the news that our devoted, is he devoted? I've no idea, barking mad leader, Sir Keir Starmer, or Stalin as we like to call him, has made the 13th U-turn. It's one a month since he went to Downing Street. He's abandoned plans overnight to make digital ID cards mandatory. That on the back of abandoning the two-child benefit cap, income tax, national insurance, welfare reforms. I'm going to keep reading this out. This stuff we were told was going to happen. Farmers' inheritance tax, grooming gangs inquiry, winter fuel payments, day one workers' rights, waspy women. Do you want to make this sound? Trans right, moving on. Pub business race, green investment. This man, I don't think he even knows his name. Does he? I mean, honestly, it's embarrassing. Now, one of the things we talked about yesterday, by the way, was the potential ban on X. You and I were just talking about this. This really infuriated the viewers and listeners yesterday. Morning, Steve.
Morning, JK. It's Steve from Basildor. This whole AI-generated issue that Labour is clamping down on or focusing on, this is the very same Labour government that launched a TikTok video using AI, which depicted animals as key workers, overlaid with a Portuguese song where the lyrics were about drug use and sexualized content. They can't even vet their own AI usage. How are they going to do it for the whole of the nation?
Sorry, is that absolutely true, Christian? I don't even know what to say anymore. Animals and Portuguese music, what a combination. Now, Samara Gill, our roving reporter, went out yesterday and did a piece on X. Have a listen.
We are outside the X headquarters here in London. Now, Ofcom has launched a snap investigation into X for violating some of their rules. Keir Starmer and his Labour government seem hell-bent on getting X banned in the United Kingdom. X is obviously a bastion of free speech used by many of our viewers and listeners. But could this be the end of X as we know it?
Shortly after that, we were ushered away by security. But free speech in Britain is clearly under threat after the government raised the prospect of banning X. Since buying the platform, Elon Musk has promoted X as a space for open debate, resisting political pressure and refusing to censor on demand. Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the concern centres on Grok, X's AI chatbot, which he claims is being used to generate explicit content. Starmer argues that this puts the platform in breach of UK law and warns that all options are on the table if action isn't taken.
It's disgraceful, it's disgusting, and it's not to be tolerated. X has got to get a grip of this. This is wrong, it's unlawful, we're not going to tolerate it. I've asked for all options to be on the table. It's disgusting.
Musk's response was characteristically defiant, posting an image of Starmer in a bikini, widely seen as a refusal to bow to political pressure. Ministers say that platforms that fail to comply could, in extreme cases, be effectively shut out of the UK. Free speech advocates say that this raises much bigger questions. X is not the only platform where explicit or harmful content exists. There are rival AI tools such as ChatGPT, encrypted apps, and pornography websites that all distribute similar material, yet none of them face the same level of scrutiny. To critics, this isn't about safety. It's absolutely about control, and if a government is prepared to threaten a ban on a platform it doesn't like, then free speech in Britain becomes something that can easily be switched off.
Excellent piece again from Samara, our new roving reporter. Can I just make the point before I go back to Matt? SOS, send us Samara, wherever you are listening in the United Kingdom. And it's not going to be about national stories. It can be about any story. Maybe you run a local shop that you keep suffering at the hands of shoplifters. Maybe you've been mugged. Maybe you can't even find a policeman. Your bins aren't delivered. There are National Pothole Day tomorrow. I want her in the biggest hole in the United Kingdom. I mean, genuinely, this lady, it adds a layer to this show. I don't want it to just be set in London. talking to the same people. I want us to be able to come to you wherever you are in the UK. That is our guarantee. If you want us to send you Samara, 87222. Great piece there, Matt. And I'd love to know the Tories' take on this. Let's do what we always do and say, all of us believe and agree those images are heinous and people should be brought to task. But you can't just single out one platform when we all know that that platform directs an enormous amount of criticism to the government of the day.
Well, I can't believe you just played that without some sort of warning. There's people eating their Cheerios and Weetabix at home. I've just had to see Starmer in his bikini.
Do you think it's the first time I'm not going there. Crack on. Sorry.
I think you're right. I mean, everybody agrees, and he actually said it there. It's unlawful. There is legislation in place.
Yeah.
There is laws, and actually we should just get on with enforcing them.
Yeah.
Holding Grok and people who provide the images, those vile people who create all sorts of vile images and distribute them, should face the full force of the law.
Am I wrong to say that I mean, big tech, high tech should be brought to task? Yeah. But if I was Keir Starmer, I'd read the room and think that Huw Edwards, and I'm sorry, it's a bugbear of mine, used these images of young children and he's walking free on 200 grand a year as a pension from the BBC. I would get my Attorney General, rather than be saving people from every other country but own, to make sure I put Huw Edwards behind bars and got the bloody money back.
You're right, you've got to put it in the context of the fact that we're saving people from human rights. Everything is about human rights, but actually the rights of those kids, the rights of those people who are photographed, who are abused, who are... They always come second to all of this.
And what about, you know, whilst you're on your high horse about X, which I do believe is, and I've said it again, the people that do that, I don't want them in my society, but look at all platforms. But hold on a second, you're supposed to be a father of two. Why have you done absolutely nothing about the disgusting, vile grooming gangs? We all know why, because you're pandering to a demographic that you're terrified will vote you out of power. Appalling. Absolutely appalling.
I mean, it's gone on for so long before they could even get a check. Well, we still aren't there. The thing, it still isn't meeting. This inquiry is still not on the way, and all of the victims have so many questions about what is and isn't going on in terms of... It just needs to get on with the job, do what's right. It's another failure of Keir Starmer, but it's probably the worst of them all, actually, when you consider what those victims have gone through. For all of these things that we think are appalling and pathetic, actually, that's probably the biggest one.
I agree. What do you make of Keir Starmer, people? 0344 499 1000 for your voice notes, 87222 for your text. Joanna, good morning. Jez, X has policies regarding account authenticity and may take enforcement action, including suspension. That, my friends, is why Starmer is using TikTok. Jan Ward, good morning. Talk JK. So, three options. Starmer comes up with his ideas and doesn't even tell his cabinet colleagues, or he does tell them and not one of them has the bollock to challenge him, or is it because they're happy for him, metaphorically, to hang himself, says Jan in Newcastle? I suspect the latter.
I think there's so many people weighing up the seat over there now, because you've got Wes, who seems like the heir to the situation.
He's not going to win amongst the membership. The membership of Labour are going to vote that mad idiot Ed Millipede.
Well, they might go Angela Rayner. They might yet go Angela Rayner. That'll be entertaining.
Dave in Colne, morning JK. Regarding digital ID, Starmer saying you would have needed ID to work. I would have gone on the dole, as would many people I know, rather than follow Starmer's crazy plan. But more importantly, where's my breakfast club, says Dave, who every morning makes that point. And then Big M, Big Marky, whose hair is cut by the council, will buzz me in a minute and say, where's our breakfast club on this breakfast show? Where's the bacon roll? Be quiet. Morning, Andy. Morning, Andy.
Morning, Joe.
Oh, hang on, we've got a bit of a technical glitch.
Beep, 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 beep. That's the sound of Starmer reversing. I think this guy knows he's toast. He must be. Something's going on in that inner sanctum of idiots at the government. I think it's just a matter of time, but like a few of your viewers have said today, got to be beware of him, because it looks like he's injured and he's going down and he knows it. And God knows what harebrained schemes he's going to come out to try and ruin us people in the UK. Anyway, great show.
Sorry, I just couldn't get my head around Andy on Starmer. What was the sound? Can you play that sound at the beginning again? I love that. Go on. Go on, play it.
Beep, 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 beep.
It's the sound of Keir Starmer reversing or being on life support. I've absolutely no idea. Fantastic, Andy. Keep them coming. JK, Kemi is not the problem, the party is. Put this to Matt. Having said that she was in a position of power whilst in government and her input was not overwhelming, she could have and should have put a bonfire under the EU regulations that are strangling my business, but did not. Please put this to Matt Vickers.
I think, do you know what? I think, Kemi, you can... We actually set up a load of trade deals when Kemi was in post. We were making a lot of progress, lots of mistakes made. She is the woman who's got the balls to get on with the job and make things happen. She's there. We know what she's about. You're not going to end up with this flippy-floppy U-turn every week. We know who she is. We know what she stands for. She's the woman for the job.
25 to 7. Jean's in Malta. Lucky person. We have digital ID already, don't we, Jez? It's called a national insurance number. Let's go to the front of the Sun newspaper today. Whoever puts these headlines together is brilliant. The Inn Reaper. You see what we did there? There should be no place at the inn for the Grim Reaper. That is, what's her name again? Richard III. Basically, a big news story. Rachel Reeves blasted again last night as pubgoers were hit by a double whammy. Pricier Guinness and diluted alcoholic drinks that might well have to be brought in to an industry that is on its knees because of this devastating tax grab. Guinness Draft, is that the way you say it, is putting up the cost of a pint by 4p from April, and brewers are weakening favourite lagers to keep pints affordable in next month's rise in alcohol duty. One of the big things, you talk about flip-flopping, you talk about kids. I think the way that this government has treated small businesses is an utter disgrace. Growth comes from encouraging those businesses. And if you're running, right now, if you're listening and getting up to run your small business, you've got a government that will do anything to make your business fail.
Yeah, the harder you work, the more it's taken from you. If you don't work, there's plenty for you. But I mean, the reality is, I spoke to a pub restaurant in my patch. Their business rates bill is trebling, not doubling. That's on top of the national insurance cost. That's on top of, but pubs, I often get told I'm obsessed with pubs. The reality is they have a really important role. They're businesses that create jobs. They're often the place where kids get their first job. It's where everybody's worked in a pub or a shop. And then actually, they're the centre of the community. They're where people come together. If you live in a village in the middle of nowhere, it's the one place where you get to meet the other people that live in the village. It's the one place people can drink safely. 111,000 jobs have been lost in the hospitality sector since this lot came to power. 2 pubs a day are closing. But that's another one of those contrast points. We can say however bad the last government was. Under the last government, 18,000 jobs were created in the hospitality sector. This lot have been in 18 months and we've lost 111,000 jobs. It can't go on.
Do you go with the theory, or is it too conspiratorial, that he doesn't like pubs, because they're the hub of the local community where people go and they discuss? Because to me, it's an absolute disgrace the way you're treating hard-working people. I mean, it is the one, not more than anything else, but I think it's... This country's always been built, I think, on aspiration and you know, go and make something of your life. And it strikes me that this government will do anything and everything it can to dampen aspiration, and that is really poor.
The taxpayer, the worker, the guy who's getting out of bed this morning going out of graft, he is the cash cow that Starmer is milking. But the other thing is we've all sort of breathed a sigh of relief about the fact we think he's U-turned on business rates. But we don't know what it looks like. We don't know what it means for shops. We don't know what it means for restaurants.
Look at the front of the Times, which is, I mean, this is again damning. Front of the Times. I'm going to work out where I hold my... You would have thought after 30 years I knew where I held that. Treasury knew business rates would double for thousands of pubs. Front page of the Times, which sends a really strong message to a party that, well, does it? To a party that stood there and talked about the working man and working woman. Don't know why I did the voice. You know, we're gonna growth. They have completely and utterly destroyed sectors of business, with it jobs, with it growth, and with it the incentive to make something. I think it's so awful.
Whatever he said to get into number 10 is complete. Do you remember the
don't
penny more on council tax? And we are taxed to the eyeballs.
He didn't, but you know this, and you take this the whole time. He didn't need to say anything. That piece of paper could have got elected, because that's the irony and the sadness and the danger of Keir Starmer is this. We used to describe it on this show as the Ming Vase approach. I think we should have replaced that with I'm so dumb I haven't got a policy approach, and he'll still get in because of how the Tories work. Couple of things for you, which I think is quite interesting. This is from Neil. He says, does Matt have an idea when this national grooming inquiry will start? And could he please tell his leader that surely this should be the first question every week by Kemi at Prime Minister's Questions until this is how he describes it, gives us an answer for our children. I think that's a genuinely great point.
I think that is a very, very valid point. I mean, there is a hell of a lot going on grooming gangs, and she is making a hell of a lot of noise, and it's getting brought up every week in there, because every time they commit to a timeline, it gets pushed back, and it gets pushed back, and it gets pushed back. But the other thing with a lot of these U-turns is it's taken him so long to U-turn. The damage is already done. Anybody who was signing a lease on a pub last week has thought, sod that.
Yeah.
Anybody who, all these farmers, we saw what happened to farmers and what they were doing to avoid this tax. People considering ending their lives, people making plans and starting to sell things off in order to get past and get through it all. The delays with all of these things have real consequences for real people out there. And the damage, there's so much damage already done by the fact he floated these stupid ideas in the first place.
If you are waking up, it's 20 to 7. It's Wednesday the 14th of January 2026, and our Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has backtracked on his 13th major policy decision since arriving in 10 Downing Street. Digital ID overnight. They've abandoned the plans to make digital ID cards mandatory for workers. It was only in October when he hailed this as the greatest idea ever to come out of his pea brain. So many U-turns: two-child cap benefit, income tax, national insurance, waspy women, the inheritance tax for farmers. We could go on and on and on. This man, he does flip-flop. Morning, Dan.
Good morning, Jezza. It's Dan from Kent. So Keir Starmer, a.k.a. Hugh Turner, has reversed on another policy. But is it good for the country that we have a leader in place that lacks any principles or conviction? How can the country move forward or grow when we have the human weather vane in place? Great show.
Do you know what I love about this show? I love the fact it's so fast-moving. It's all going on 18 minutes to 7 o'clock. Matt Vickers, Deputy Chairman of the Tory party here, and we've got breaking news, Matty. X has just announced that it's restricted Grok from generating sexualised images of women and children after Labour, of course, planned to make it illegal to create non-consensual intimate images. Ready for this? Quite right, that. Absolutely. Yeah. First thing on my head is he going to go ahead with banning X, even though X have quite rightly made that decision? Because if he does, that tells you everything about free speech. But they're only still responding to requests to put men in bikinis or sexual positions.
I think,
honest to God, he will probably turn around in an hour or tweet at 8:15, which is what he usually does when he says cornflakes, and say, victory against X.
I think that Elon Musk probably has a good head on his shoulders, and I think this is something he would have arrived at anywhere. The idea that you tag it and you stick it together with Twitter and try and take the opportunity to take it down because it provides a bit of scrutiny every now and again. Mind you, if you had a profile like his and you're getting some of the stick he gets on Twitter,
you're loving
it's quite
this,
obvious as to why he does it.
I keep waiting to wake up and come in and feel sorry for him, but I'm so infuriated by his incompetence and so infuriated by his inability to... Do you know, like I said to you about Corbyn at the beginning, at least tell me what you believe in, at least have the gumption or the ability to defend it, and even if it goes wrong, I'll know that you sort of did it genuinely in an authentic way. But this man... Now, this is interesting. Matt says that Kemi, this is from Neil in Stoke-on-Trent, don't know why I did that, is making a good job as leader. I agree that she is improving at PMQs, but she gets more practice being given 6 questions, whereas my party of Reform only get 1 question perhaps every 6 weeks, and even then, the children on the other benches create havoc trying to shout them down, seemingly aided and abetted by a speaker who I think has a limited amount of control over Parliament. We need a new broom to sweep all the dross out of Westminster and start again. Whether Reform can do the job against a background of civil servants who seem biased towards the left, I don't know. But for my mind, drastic action is needed before this country disappears completely down the toilet. Your response to that?
Well, interesting point. I think... You know what? It's the way it's always worked. You get the 6 questions, but there are lots of opportunities to ask questions.
Do you
in
think
Parliament, not only that half an hour.
Do you think that other leaders, Nigel Farage, Hit No Tits isn't in the House of Commons, is he? Zach? Do you not love that word? Honestly, it's Nigel Farage's favourite line now, hypnotiz. Ed Davey gets more questions. Do you not think that all opposition parties should get more chance to ask?
It's kind of the way it's always been. Do I think that people can put in and ask lots of questions? Yeah, but Parliament doesn't sit for half an hour on a Wednesday afternoon. It sits all week. Well, it sits Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes on a Friday.
Do you not work Fridays, MPs? Do you not work Fridays?
We go and do the real work back at home. Get to go up north.
Do you travel on a Wednesday, is it?
Well, I wouldn't mind. But the reality is people get to ask questions all the time. And one of the biggest criticisms that people have had about Nigel Farage as an MP is that he often pulls out of asking other questions at other points during the week when he has the opportunity to hold the government to account. He doesn't come along. That's one of the biggest criticisms people have of him as an MP.
Is he not in the House of Commons?
He's not there as often as he should be. That's the biggest complaint people have got about Nigel. There are opportunities to ask questions other than that half-an-hour window. Do I think that we should be given more opportunity to scrutinise the Prime Minister? Of course we do. Do I think every party should be given more opportunity to peg him down and hold him to account for these ridiculous ideas? Of course I do.
Sorry, now, there's much about... somebody sent me a message yesterday saying, why do you always why do you always feel like you should sort of, whenever you talk about Trump, say some like him, some loathe him? I'm just pointing out facts. Interestingly, front page of the Telegraph, Trump says, help is on the way. I think we all, whatever our political persuasion, would understand that the situation in Iran is vile. They reckon 2,500 people, protesters, will probably have been hung, cut to pieces or shot in the back. And Donald Trump sent this message saying help is on the way. Regime's killers and abusers will pay a big price, US President warns. I keep saying this for a reason, Matt. For those people who think that this is Trump-paying politics, the mad mullahs of Iran have been funding every single disgusting, vile terrorist group like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, for years. Think October the 7th, think Iran. Think car bombs, think carnage, think Iran. I think, if you look at the protests outside the Iranian embassy, now is the time for this vile regime to be brought down, and one would hope it can be conceivably done by its own people, but it's a really difficult one. I guess the Tories would stand firm on that as well.
I mean, whatever people think about Donald Trump, actually, he's a guy who's getting stuff done on the international stage. Because he comes in, he's slightly unpredictable. People are a bit, shocked or scared by him. People actually respond to what's going on.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, look at what's happened in Gaza. You look at what's happened in Iran. You look at what's happened with Maduro. Things actually happen. Things get moved and shook around. You can criticise some of the things that he does, but actually things are getting done.
Let's have a listen to DJT. This is what he said to the Iranian people.
You said to Iran this morning that help is on the way for protesters. What did you mean by that? What kind of help?
You're going to have to figure that one out. I'm sorry.
How many people have been killed in Iran?
Nobody's been able to give me an accurate number. I have heard numbers from everything's a lot. One is a lot. But I've heard numbers much lower and I've heard numbers much higher. We'll be knowing. We're probably going to find out over the next 24 hours. I think it's a lot.
It's an evil regime that needs to be brought down. But you mentioned something there that I want to... I mean, here we go again. I don't mean to bring it back to Keir Starmer. When I read this on page 4 of the Daily Mail, I'm not even going to show you, it's so shocking. Starmer weighing up future role on Trump's Board of Peace to oversee Gaza reconstruction.
Well, part you think...
Sorry, I like parts of Donald Trump. If you put this in... Really? Keir Starmer?
I think
reconstruction.
At least if he's distracted and he's doing something else, he's out of the way. But the other problem is, whenever you send Keir Starmer anyway, he starts doling out things. You look at Chagos, you look at the fishing rights that he's given away at the EU. If we send him to Gaza, God knows what it's going to cost us if he gets to another part of the globe and starts dishing out our dosh.
I mean, I'm, as I say, quite a fan of the ability of Trump to sort of make decisions. But Keir Starmer, again, you're right. You're probably right. There's so many problems in this country, and so incompetent is he that he'll probably run off and sort Gaza out. Andrew's in Telford. Morning, Jez. Morning, Matt. Getting mentions now. Could it be Starmer, the community harmer, is pampering to his Islamist base? He won't join Trump in prescribing the IRGC. This is the Iranian Guard, this disgusting organisation, and we seem to not be able to call it a terrorist organisation. But the Tories prescribe it.
Well, we've said you've got to look at what's coming in. You've got to look at what they're doing, but they're becoming now a serious threat. There are opportunities there to review this at a regular basis.
Do you think, I mean, this Andrew says, if you look at the IRGC, he won't run a full inquiry into the rape gangs, and he's hitting pubs if some Muslims want closed. Just my thoughts. Is this him kowtowing to a Muslim part of our population. This is not a racist comment. You look at what happened in the West Midlands with that football match. We played videos of Muslim apparent community leaders, I'd call them thugs, saying if Jews come to this city, they're in trouble. He is terrified. He lost 5 seats in the last election to independent Muslim candidates who stood only on Gaza, not on what's happening with their local community. Are the policies of this Prime Minister, in your opinion, geared to placating the Muslims of the United Kingdom?
Well, when you look at the grooming gang situation, I mean, you heard it from Simon Danczuk, didn't you? When he was a Labour MP, he was told
he's on at 7 o'clock.
Not to mention the race of these people, ethnicity, because that's why this is so fundamentally wrong. People scared to death to stand up to people. And the Maccabi Tel Aviv stuff is just appalling. That Chief Constable has got to go.
How is Craig Guilford still in a job? Do you know that he was nominated by 14 community leaders from the local mosque? Do you know that Craig Guilford has prescribed what he prescribed, has been told, and it's been proven that he's a liar? Again, you look at Mahmood. She knew for 8 days. Home Secretary, Muslim woman. Hold on, I'm not. There isn't a racist bone in my body. I go on every single day about how badly the Jewish community are treated. There are many Muslims in this country who have been treated appallingly. I have many Muslim friends who work hard and build businesses. But I'm sorry, if you've got a Prime Minister who is, in effect, doing stuff that most sane people of whatever political persuasion would go, what? You start to question his motivation.
Well, the one thing that people like about the UK is freedom, is the ability to express yourself, is the ability to live your life, choose your own religion and faith. You can't do that in the UK at the moment if you are Jewish. You are banned from going to football matches. Did you see the story yesterday about that MP who's been Jewish MP banned from going to a school in his own constituency? That is absolutely atrocious.
But there again, I said this yesterday. Steve Reed told this story at the Jewish Labour Movement, on Saturday. Steve Reed, Environment Secretary, used to come on all the time when I was on drive time. Won't take my call. Right, fair enough, that's fine, right? It's a minister now. I would have thought that somebody in Labour would have gone, right, there's an example of anti-Semitism against one of our own. Let's crush this. Let's make a point. Nothing. Gone.
We cannot.
Absolutely gone.
If this country allows us to carry on to the point where Jewish people can be banned from going to support a football team, where a Jewish MP can be banned from going to a school, God knows what comes next. We need to give our heads a shake. We need to look at what we stand for as a country.
Phrase. Give your heads a shake. Mark, with a C, a very good morning.
Morning, Jeremy. Mark here. Do you not think that the Labour government has got all its priorities completely and utterly wrong? As much as these images are wrong and they shouldn't be widely available for people to do, concentrating on X when we have other platforms that can do the same thing, and then more to the point is we should be safeguarding our women and children from these Muslim men and migrants that are coming in on boats. But this Labour government, as always, is just concentrating on control and socialism rather than the actual protection of our women and children. Just completely wrong. This Labour government needs to go, and go quickly.
Do you know what's really interesting? When a politician wants to get something out of you, no comment. I'm not telling you at the moment, Matt Vickers. You'd have to wait and see. It'll come out. News on the way. Matt Vickers, morning. Kate and the Wirral says, the lovely, gorgeous Matt.
Yeah. We'll take that.
This is a single man, the deputy chairman of the Tory party. Would you like to date him? Since the controversy, Chairman Stalin ceases posting on X. Instead of choosing, he's tending to choose TikTok as his latest preference. Tells us everything we need to know. Sharon in Staffordshire. Starmer is such an idiot. Anyone with half a brain would know that the digital ID would never work. The British people would never let it happen. Why does he not listen to us? I think he doesn't listen to us because he doesn't get it, does he?
I mean, TikTok, interesting on TikTok, because there's a lot of people, MPs, who will not use TikTok because they say about it being Chinese state ran.
Do you use TikTok?
I don't know if I do. I don't think I do.
I don't even know. I'm no good at all. By the way, we're now getting voice notes about you. Tony on Matt Vickers. Good morning.
Morning, Jezzy. Tony from Stoke. I quite like Matt Vickers as a person, but I think he's talking absolute BS, mate. I've been old enough to vote for over 40 years now, so it's not just 14 years of Tories and 18 months of Labour. This has been going on for a long time. They're the same party, they just wear a different coloured tie. And I'm sick of the lies and then the letdowns when they get into power. It's just going to be the same at this time round if the Conservatives get in. They ain't got my vote. Keep up the good work, mate.
So that's interesting.
It's interesting, but I think people should give it... The other thing is, actually, we talk about people turning up with a rosette. A lot of the people just changing the tie, aren't they? They don't, you know, people. I could go and get the turquoise tie, maybe. That might be a thing.
What did you make of Nadeem Zahawi switching yesterday?
I think, do you know what? He's a nice chap, I know him. But you heard the stories. You heard the stories about him asking for a peerage and not getting one. You heard what he had to say about Farage before.
Called him Goebbels.
Sometimes people make decisions, but people can read the papers. They can make their own informed decisions as to what they think motivated.
One thing I'll say about
party.
you, and obviously you're single. One thing I'll say about you is that you believe in what you believe in, and you come here and you don't sort of ignore stuff, and that is what the British electorate. That's all they need. They need to be told what's in front of them, and if it works, it works. Now, Big Mark, who is obsessed with breakfast and is utterly annoyed every single day that we don't have a breakfast club, is going to be even more annoyed because Matt Vickers is off to a breakfast club at the House of Commons, where the MPs, you'll have a fry-up and everything, won't you?
I was promised yesterday, viewers will have noticed, I was promised a bacon sandwich this morning. It hasn't arrived, so I'm going to a parliamentary breakfast. I'm going to sit down, chew the fat with all these MPs, see what's on their minds.
Do you sit in the canteen? Do you talk to Labour MPs and do you talk to Reform MPs?
Well,
or do you sit in your own
the
little...
Labour lot sit at the opposite end of the room. I don't know why.
Do they really?
It's probably helpful to us. But I think actually, I'm going back on the chap who there.
It's like school, isn't it? Really, to be honest. Who's your friend? Who do you sit next
my
to?
Friend? Oh, a bit of a mingler. I just sort of get around.
Matt the Mingler. There you go. Matt the Mingler Vickers.
I think in politics, so back to the other chap who had views about BS.
30 seconds.
I think actually sometimes you've got to do what you think's right.
Yeah.
Whatever's gone before has gone before. Whatever comes next comes next. I stand with my party because I believe that the people who are on the side of working people, not people who just change their mind about this, that and the other, not people who promise to spend the earth on lots of things and sell you jam tomorrow.
10 seconds.
But people who know you've got to work hard, do the right thing. If you're one of them, like, you should vote Conservative.
I'll tell you what I love about you, mate. I love about the fact that you get up, you come here and you believe and you believe. We'll see you next week. We love having you on. Matt Vickers off to a breakfast club. Big Mark sitting there starving his head off.